So at some point, like when that ball stops bouncing, what's that going to look like for you? And have you put yourself in a position to be successful?
Hello, everyone. This is author Tim Brown, the book Uncommon Athletes, and I'm excited to have with me a truly uncommon athlete, and Michael Sain. This is exciting for me to have this conversation with a young fella. You can tell by the baby face, he looked like he's a 15, 16-year-old kid on here,
You're closer together.
Well, man, it's just a joy to be able to have a conversation with Mike. Mike is currently the athletic director at International High School here in Columbus, Ohio, but he has a long history in sports. He played at Reynoldsburg High School and went on to play at Eureka College in Illinois. And so, Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Coach. Blessed to be on here and talk with you, and definitely looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I am excited about. I think young people, hopefully those that are listening, and parents as well, will understand about you and your preparation for the position you're in now, and how once basketball stopped, you had a stellar career at Eureka College, been an academic All-American for years. So obviously you got it done in the classroom, and it wasn't a Division I school; it was actually a Division III school. But just those wanting to continue to play basketball and pursue that interest in sports. And so, Mike, what drove you to want to continue to play basketball, or how did Eureka prepare you for life after basketball?
I think as a whole, I mean, obviously having played at the Division III level, I'm a huge advocate for it. Um, and of course, like nothing at all wrong with Division I and II. There are fantastic opportunities there, but I think sometimes D3 gets overlooked in terms of the level of basketball that's played there, the academic and the personal, the professional opportunities and areas for development at those institutions. I mean, just here in the Central Ohio area, we have multiple, whether you're talking an Otterbein, a Capital, and you start to hit the fringes in places like Denison and things of that nature. That there are amazing opportunities there, and I think one thing that we always harped on at the D3 level is all of those athletes again are not on athletic scholarships, so they're there. I mean, purely for the love of the game, and I think being there at a Division III institution for the love of the game kind of reinforces the idea that like I don't want this to stop just in this 4 years of playing. Like I want this to be a part of my career. I want sports and athletics, and I mean specifically basketball, just to be a long-term part of my career. And I think that kind of brought that out of me, and which is why I think the D3 level is amazing for anybody looking to continue the opportunity to be a part of the game and around the game.
As you look back on your involvement in sports, where did that passion come from? I always ask guys. I wrote in the books about passion. Where did that passion come from when you were young to want to be involved in sports?
I think it's just the lifestyle around it, just the people you meet, the experiences you have, the life lessons that you get out of it. I think there are so many lessons that can be taught through sport, so many experiences you have through sport and opportunities. And I think just early on, my dad. Kind of our fun fact is he also played at Eureka
Oh
College.
wow.
So I kind of followed in his footsteps and was able to continue that. And I think just that legacy, that idea that this game means so much to so many people. And it's an amazing game to play like on the court, but what it does off the court is just as good, if not better, in so many cases, all the way from the youth to the professional levels. Again, on and off the court, there are just so many opportunities this game brings, and athletics as a whole. So like basketball is my sport, but whether you're football, whether you're baseball, softball, volleyball, whatever it is for you, like that same thing holds true. And what it can do for you both on and off the playing surface.
Mhm. That's good. I don't want to miss that when you talked about those life lessons.
Mhm.
Can you speak to those? What are some of those life lessons that you gathered from being involved in sports?
Absolutely. I think probably one of the biggest. It's kind of a story
Mhm.
that is probably the first time I've shared it out loud, but a story I'll never forget. It was my sophomore year. So freshman year we had about 8 or 9 seniors on the team. Didn't get much playing time, understandably so. We were stacked. We made it to our conference championship that year and almost made it to the NCAA D3 tournament. So we were fantastic that year. Next year, we kind of go in and I work my butt off that summer. I'm aiming for to bust into that lineup and get some playing time, and didn't necessarily work out that way towards the beginning of the season. And I kind of shut down a little bit. I hit that, got in that rut where I'm how when I'm upset, I'm not locked in, I'm not paying attention in film, I'm not working hard in practice. And I will never forget this moment. We were playing, it was a home game against a school in our league called Blackburn. And one of our starters got into foul trouble. One of our starting guards, I think, caught 2 quick fouls in like the first maybe like 2 or 3 minutes of the game. And I get thrown in there, right? And I'm disengaged on the bench. I'm like sitting back. It's like I'm like sitting there, not paying attention. And I hadn't been paying attention in film, hadn't been locked in practice. And I get right in there. And they ran a 2-3, kind of an extended like Syracuse type of 2-3. And I saw, on film, we had seen all week that if you try to throw to the short corner, they're going to hop over there and try to steal it. I get in there 2 times in a row, 2 times down, turn the ball over. 1 time down, turn over. Next time down, turn over. They go back down, score 2 times, come right back out of the game. And I don't think I've ever felt that low, or that, I guess in my athletic career at least, where I had done something to myself that was totally controllable because I wasn't locked in and I wasn't approaching things with the right attitude. And from that point on, I think that was like a changing point in my life, to be honest. Like, this is not how you approach things. This is not how you do things. And luckily enough, I was kind of able to turn that around and never have an issue like that again. But I think that, like, you speak to the life lessons, that was one that changed. And again, that's applicable on the court, but that the same thing holds off of the court in my career now, in my job. Like, if things don't go the way I want them to, like, how am I going to respond to that? Am I going to shut down and not work hard? Or am I going to lock in and do what I need to do and be ready and stay ready for the opportunities that come? So I think that's a huge element of the life lesson piece.
Well, you hit on some stuff that we talk about in the book, the Uncommon Athletes book. That first P for passion is being prepared, and preparing. Yeah, we talk about that preparation and being prepared in an uncommon way. Always ready to go. And so that's a life lesson you can take from basketball and for life. And I'm sure that taught you that you'll never be unprepared again, not just in basketball, but in life. That's a great lesson. Let's flip and talk about, you talked about life experience you get from sports, life lessons. But let's talk about some of those experiences. I was looking through your resume, and boy, you've had a lot of great experiences. I saw where you had an experience at Ohio State football as an academic coach. You also had an experience being an intern in the NBA, working with players and paying all that kind of deal. Can you talk about those experiences that you had through sports?
For sure. I think, and both those opportunities, both at Ohio State and at the NBA level and player development at the league office, we're focused heavily on that off-court development. These are guys who are doing what they do at the highest level, at their given time. So kind of making sure that they have the resources they need, that they have the support that they need to be successful, both on and off the court. Because if that off-court piece isn't there, if you don't have your finances in order, your healthy relationships, your diet, your eating, all of those kind of things, like those things have to be on point for you to perform at that high of a level. And those guys have such amazing habits already, and mostly it's just making sure you're there as a resource for them, to provide them that extra guidance when it's needed, that extra support when it's needed. But it was definitely a blessing to be involved. At those high levels, because it helps. As much as I was able to learn about the resources we can provide them, it was just as big of a resource for me to see how those guys work, to see how they approach their craft, and how they hone their skills. Was an absolutely amazing opportunity.
As you had that experience, how does that help you being a high school athletic director and seeing these high school athletes? What kind of things are you able to share with them? Because you've seen it at the highest level that these guys are trying to get to. I'm gonna ask this as a 2-part question. One is, what are those things that those guys need to work on, and girls, to kind of zone in on to be successful at that level? And then secondly, how can we help them get to that level? What are those things that we can do for them now to prepare them for that next step?
Absolutely. I think I think like the prime example, one that pops in my head immediately is a lot of times, and even me as a high school, even sometimes a college athlete, you have to kind of learn and understand like kind of what that work ethic looks like. So when you come to a gym on the day of a game, what does that look like for you? So like all the way from, you mean that morning when you woke up, did you grab a bottle of water and plan that out for how much you're gonna drink that day? What did you eat for lunch? When you get to the gym, do you come in and get your shoes right on and go, get some shots up and get some game shots and some game action up and things of that nature. So I think kind of to part one of your question, those are the kind of things that we try to kind of instill in our programs and our athletes to kind of show them what it takes to be prepared and be ready to go. And then I think that kind of the second part is I guess illustrating that to them, like showing them like sometimes if I walk in the gym and getting some things set up for a game, there's some guys in there shooting shots from sitting in the bleachers and doing like that kind of thing. Maybe I'll pull up a video of maybe a little bit of LeBron's pregame work, or and just kind of show them like this is what this stuff looks like at the highest level. And I hope maybe you can achieve that one day, but if not, it's just building those habits and that approach that's going to get you success now as well. And I think a lot of times they just might not know, and to no fault of their own, I didn't know. I definitely didn't know kind of what that looked like. And I think just finding ways to illustrate that to them and to show and share that with them so they can take that same approach and those same steps and that it doesn't mean you have to make it to the NBA or the WNBA. All it means is that you're going to build healthy, you're going to build productive habits, and those productive habits in sport are going to be productive habits in the workplace one day, or in college when you get there in the next 1 or 2 years. Like that's those same things translate and carry over. So I think that's huge to answer that question.
No, that's really good. Yeah, some of those habits that you develop early will carry on. Let's flip gears. Being athletic director, let's talk about especially these young athletes and parents about the importance of academics. So I think sometimes we feel like they, and I believe sometimes the standards might be just a little too light, for athletes, so to speak. Let's talk about how important academics is, and having that same kind of standard that you have on the court. I always tell guys you would never bring your A game to the basketball court. You always bring your A game. So why are you satisfied with a C D game, B C D game in the classroom? Can you speak to how important that academic approach is?
Yeah, it's so huge, and I think kind of maybe what gets lost sometimes, because like sometimes when like kids are struggling in the classroom, like I want to get on them and like there's like kind of that frustration where I want to say like there's a so you don't want to discourage and say like, look, okay, like so there maybe that there's some kids walking around here in the country that can squeak by with the bare minimum GPA because they're probably going to go D1. They're probably going to make it to the league. They're probably going to go. Like they might just be built for that. But in the grand scheme of things, like if there's somebody who's not working hard in the classroom, it's not common that a kid doesn't get good grades, kind of slacks off in the classroom, and then whether you're a college or NBA scout, like whatever it is, you're looking to go to that next level, that there's a kid that does that in the classroom, and you watch them on the court and you're like, oh, this is the hardest working, most dedicated, most solid player I've ever seen. Like that it's probably not going to be that way. You know what I mean? Like there's probably going to be some similarities in the way they work off the court and how they work on the court. Now that could be, sometimes there could be some outliers, but for the most part, those things are going to translate like they would for anybody. So I think that emphasis on the academics, just being the foundation for how you approach things. And it's because, to be quite honest, most people aren't going to, just statistically, I think there have only been about 4,000 or 5,000 NBA players in the history of the National Basketball Association. And I'm sure there'll be similar numbers for the amount of, football players who made it to the NFL and things of that nature. So at some point, like when that ball stops bouncing, what's that going to look like for you? And have you put yourself in a position to be successful? And I think like prime example international, major compliment to Coach Bell, who's hired an academic advisor, Leanne Sunderman, for us this year. So she's in there and approaching it like just like those guys at Ohio State. Just like those Division I guys, we have a framework in place where we're checking in, we're following up, we're trying to make sure that we're emphasizing that academics is first and there's no question about that, and making sure that's at the forefront of their minds for sure.
That's great. This has been a great conversation for just your wisdom, your knowledge is definitely beyond your years, and a lot of your experiences. And I pray that, and that's why I wanted to bring some young guys on so people can see that they won't have to overlook young guys. That they do know something, and have a lot to say, and have some great, great nights. So as we wrap up, can you speak to these athletes about preparing themselves to be involved in sports after basketball? While they're playing the game, some things they should be doing while they're playing the game or while they're involved in high school, college, that if they want to continue, what are some of those things that what are some situations or opportunities they should put themselves in? I know for you, it was internships, it was just being involved. So what are some of those things that they should be doing right now to prepare themselves for a life in sports?
Absolutely. I would say one of the biggest things or biggest pieces of advice I would give would be to tap into the people that you're around in the moment, because your teammates now, your teammates when you get to college, your coaches when you get to college, your athletic trainers, like all those different people, those people are going to be so if you want to work in sports, like those people are going to be the head coaches in college or the NBA one day, the front office people at the professional level at any kind of sports, like all those people that you're around right now, those like-minded individuals, just build those relationships, stay close with those people, stay in contact. Like prime example, I just had an opportunity pop up for, one of my mentors, Chuck Mizraco, who runs a sports agency. He reached out to me and I'm kind of helping and doing some work with them. But he was a senior when I was a freshman at Eureka, and that comes full circle for he and I to work together now. So I think that the biggest part is, like I said, tap into those relationships, your high school coaches, your high school teammates. Again, at the next level, your college coaches, your college teammates, the professors. Those people are going to be working in the business world and the sports world and the medical field, like all of those different places. So I think it's huge to build those relationships now and maintain those and be there for people. Because people will be there for you, and I think those things come full circle, and just build that strong community, those strong relationships, and and just show your dedication, show your work ethic, and that's gonna pay off for you in the long run.
That's good. That's some great words of advice, and I want to commend you for being a young man of character. I always tell people that talent will take you so far, talent will get you in the door, but character is what keeps you there. Character is what keeps you there, and so I want to continue to encourage you to be that young man of character and let you know that the work you're doing now, the guys may not seem like they're getting it, but it's just a blessing having a young role model, and then you are truly that role model for these young guys when they see you walk in the gym, being a married man and being a guy of character, being a scholar athlete, all those things, trust me, there are young guys who aspire to be those, but don't know what it looks like. And it's a blessing having you being there. They can see this is what this looks like. If you do the right thing, all those things that we're talking about on this video, if you do the right thing, this is what it looks like, and it gets even better, and I'm praying for you. That I know the best is yet to come, because I know you're going places, and that's why I want to get you on here before you blow up.
Thank you. And Coach Brown, I just wanted to make sure I also said, thank you for what you do. Your work and everything you put together is the epitome of what I think our faith looks like, manifested in sport and in society. And I just appreciate all the outreach that you do, the things that you've done for our program, the things you've done for me. It's absolutely amazing, and it's a blessing to have you as a mentor, and I'm so appreciative of our relationship and everything that you do for the sports community.
All right. Well, thanks. I appreciate that, and I look forward to coming to hanging out with you when you win that championship. I know
we're chasing it. We're chasing it.
All right. Be blessed. Have a great day. Thanks for being part of the show.
Yes, sir. God bless.
All right.